Hi, welcome to Blossom and Bloom with Ursula Walker. I am so happy to see you today. Welcome to this week's episode. It's amazing. I'm so glad you guys have been with us our third week and running. This actually is our fourth week with our upcoming guests, and I'm excited to have you. I hope you all have been enjoying the show thus far. Thank you for the comments that you've been sending in to blossomandbloom23@gmail.com. I appreciate your feedback. I am so thankful for your support. I hope that you're finding the information that we're talking about here on Blossom and Bloom valuable. Last week, we met with my mom on Mother's Day. We had a really great conversation, just kind of talking about motherhood, the importance of motherhood, and what that dynamic should look like. And we even talked a little bit about some of the things that befall us as mothers and as women. So I hope that you found some of the stuff that we talked about pretty impactful. Well, we are here again, and I have a new guest for this week. I'd like to pick up my phone and read about Cassandra Paul. She is our guest this week. Cassandra Paul is a trailblazing entrepreneur, therapist, singer, songwriter, and a Jesus lover who embraces the opportunity to transform lives. She's been married to her husband for 27 years. They have 4 beautiful daughters, and Cassandra is passionate about encouraging marriages and families to thrive. What a great message we're going to get into. In 2015, Paul wrote and authored her book, It Won't Be Because I Didn't Tell You, a thought-provoking and captivating read filled with personal stories and experiences that invites readers to eavesdrop on how she, as a mother, instructed her daughters in navigating life's journey. She has also created a marriage community group called I Still Do of Central Florida. So if you're in Central Florida, please find that group on Facebook and connect. In collaboration with other married, engaged, and committed couples to gather and learn from one another through weekly encouragement, monthly discussions, and quarterly events. Many describe Paul as an open book, as she never shies away from sharing her life with others. Through her growing social media presence, she has gathered hundreds of thousands of views across multiple platforms thanks to her popular videos and family show, The Paul Pack. No stranger to uncomfortable topics or difficult conversations, Paul is known for providing wisdom in relatable scenarios and discussing issues that challenge the family unit. With 20 years of experience in education, working with children, adolescents, emerging adults, Paul strives to make a positive difference in their lives by listening, advocating, and mentoring. In 2021, Paul earned a master's degree in clinical mental health counseling, and shortly after, created her private practice, the Living Room Therapy. This focuses on specialized in the areas of family, conflict, blended families, religion and spirituality, identity crisis, trauma, and much more. In addition to one-on-one, couples therapy, life coaching, retreats, and public speaking engagements are also in the works for Cassandra's growing practice. Paul believes everyone needs a safe space to just be while processing life, and she welcomes clients to come sort it all out with her through virtual or in-person sessions at the living room. In her free time, Paul enjoys traveling, going to brunch and dinner, binge watching television, and spending quality time with her family. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome Cassandra Paul to the Blossom and Bloom Show. Let's give her a welcome.
Yay!
Woo! My sister.
Thank
you so
me.
much for being
I
here, my
appreciate
love.
you. I
Welcome to
appreciate
the
you.
show. Well, I
Mhm.
just told our audience a little bit about who you are,
Mhm.
but I'd love for them to hear it through your own words, your
Mhm.
voice. Tell us who Cassandra Paul is.
In summary, I just am a person who really loves the Lord all her life. I kind of have. Not that I'm perfect or anything like that. I'm a wife of one man. That's a challenge in of
Hello.
itself. Yeah. Mother to four daughters. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how I summarize my life. Those are the things that are most important to me.
Absolutely. I'm so intrigued. And as a fellow woman and as a fellow sister in arms when it comes to taking the journey of continuing education to fulfill your dream of opening your own practice. Talk a little bit about your school journey and going back to school, getting your master's, and how that has impacted you in your career now.
I feel like I'm a late bloomer. It's interesting because your show is bloom and blossom and bloom.
That's right.
And I felt like I returned to school later in life when my children got older enough. I was on that journey earlier. Lots of things happened. And being a mom was really important to me. But also looking at those four faces, I wanted to be somebody. I wanted to practice what I preached. I wanted to be an inspiration and motivation. I didn't want to tell them to go and get it and I not have it. So I waited till they got a little bit older and I went back to school. It was the best decision for me, though, because going back to school, when you start earlier, you don't know what you're doing a little bit.
Right. That's right.
You're just kind of winging it. You're going to classes. But when you're a mature student, you're kind of a little bit more focused. You understand things more.
That's right.
And so I brought life experience into the classroom with me. And I knew then that I had a vision to start my own private practice.
Wow.
Yeah, going in, I was intentional. I needed to learn everything I needed to learn. It's just because I've been counseling forever. Yeah. My mom tells a story that when I was a little girl, she would look at me and tell me all her problems. I was an arm baby. And she would just look down on me and she said, your eyes were just so welcoming. So I just told you all of my problems.
Oh, how amazing.
Yeah, she said that. So high school, I've always been, what's the advice? What would you do? So all throughout my life, career, no matter what job I was in, people were always confiding in me. And I finally said, go back to school and get the degree so that you can make the money.
That's
and
right.
do it the way that it's in your head to do it, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now talk a little bit about, would you call that a charge on your life? It's something that you've been doing innately since you were young. You have a story about your mom when you were in high school. It's a part of who you are. How has that helped you, take that trajectory into this career?
I've always wanted to be a therapist. However, life, my choices, I was in the church. This is a Rethink Christian Television, right?
Right.
So I was in church. And when I got saved, really serious about God about age of 19, I thought at the time ministry was everything. So I didn't mind traveling, singing, building up souls and different things of that nature.
Right.
However, what was happening was God kept asking me a question. He kept saying, if this ministry crumbles, what will you do? Asked me that for 4 years straight. I didn't understand the purpose. Suddenly, for me, that ministry crumbled. I was being separated from that ministry and stuck. I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing because that vision of my life was taking over.
Yeah.
So he had to separate me to get back on the path that I know I was originally destined for.
And how did you deal with that? That separation. How did you process all that? Because when we love a thing, we love a thing. And sometimes the separation from something or something that propels us to move forward, as much as we know it's our destiny to move forward.
Yeah.
It's tough to make that transition. How did you do that?
It was crushing.
I bet.
It was one of the most painful things I've ever had to do because that ministry and ministry in general was my life. I don't think that people understand. I moved from my hometown of Rochester, New York to start a ministry here in Florida. Wow. And so I gave up my life. I gave up everybody that I knew. God added to me, of course. This is where I, found my husband and had my children. But it was my life.
Right.
And so to be separated, and the way that God did it, to be separated from, I was lost, completely lost, because my identity had become in ministry. My mom used to say, you know
Right.
what, Cassandra, you're so heavenly minded, you're no earthly good.
Oh, that's a
Yeah,
good one.
yeah. I lost myself. I lost myself. And so it was devastating. It took years to recover. Nobody knows that story. This is the first time I'm ever really publicly talking about that story. But it took me years to bounce back and recover and regroup, and for God to rebuild me and
Right.
deconstruct things that I had learned. Oh, that story's deep. We don't have enough time. That
Yes.
story's too deep.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll go there one day. But what I want to talk about is
Mhm.
the point you hit on about
Mhm.
your identity.
Mm.
I hear a lot
Mhm.
from folks in my coaching practice and my coaching clients about losing themselves.
Mm.
And I have a story about losing my identity,
Mhm.
losing a relationship
Mhm.
after many years and coming to find out, well, who am I
Mhm.
after losing that relationship?
Mhm.
So I feel women
Mhm.
deal a lot with identity because of the different places where we are.
Sure.
Workplace,
Sure.
ministry,
Mhm.
at home with our families, with our husbands.
Mhm.
That's a ministry as well.
Absolutely.
So how does one maintain identity in these many different situations?
I agree with you. I think because we wear so many hats and we have so
Mhm.
many roles and responsibilities, it is easy to lose ourselves. I think one of the most important things I tell every audience that I'm in front of is it is important to love yourself.
Oh, yes.
Honest to goodness, you have to love yourself, embrace yourself right where you are, not where you're trying to be, with all your goals and aspirations. Get clear about right where you are.
That's right.
So that once you embrace right where you are, accept it, then you can get clear about where you want to move. We lose ourselves because of so many roles and responsibilities that we have. But if you learn to love yourself, accept yourself, build yourself first,
That's right.
then you can explore and you won't lose yourself with the many different hills, valleys, lows, roles, responsibilities, and stuff like that. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself so that you can get to know yourself.
Right.
It takes time.
That's right.
It takes time.
A lot of us women are out here screaming that message from a megaphone, from the mountaintop.
Because we did it the wrong way.
Right.
We did it the wrong way.
We did it the wrong way.
Yes, we did.
We've learned and we want to help others come up for that. What would you tell someone who says, I've had people tell me, but this is about you and your best practices and lessons learned. How would you share with someone who really doesn't have any capacity of loving themselves? They don't even know what love myself means. How would you break that down?
You know, there's a scripture in the Bible says that we should love our neighbors as we love ourselves. But we never focus on the as we love ourselves. So you can't really love your neighbor until you love yourself. How? How do you do that? You gotta not be afraid to be alone, y'all. I gotta say it.
Speak on it.
You know, we want to be booed up so bad. In high school, you feel like you nothing unless you booed up. Right. You know, you start having sex early. Some of us had babies way too early. There's no way you can know yourself at 15, 16, 17, and you've already brought life into the world. I mean, I'm married at 23. I didn't know myself at 23.
Right.
So it's not really about age, but what I am saying is you really, really, really have to stop. Be okay being alone and understanding who you really are. Travel. What do you like? Take some time to just explore the world, different cultures. Like, I'm not just saying that to say it. This is how you learn yourself. You're going to learn yourself in relationships at work and with coworkers and different friends and different things. But when you boo up too quickly, too fast, and you procreate and bring life into the world, it's going to push your journey back a little bit further. And that's okay. You'll catch up. But don't be afraid to know how to walk alone in this life. If you master walking alone,
that's right,
you can master everything else.
That's right.
Does that make sense?
I'll give you 5 on that, sis. I love that.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And you're talking about learning to be alone.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was reading your bio just now, one thing that stuck out to me was how you wrote the book. Don't say I didn't tell you, because you wanted to first leave good legacy for your daughters.
Absolutely.
Their mother's words of wisdom, right? So tell me some of the things. We're in May. We recently just celebrated Mother's Day. But what were some of the things important to you as a mom that you wanted to leave with your daughters?
You know, one of the hot topics that's always going to be in churches and in life in general is sex. And I just kind of touched on it a little bit. I'm treading carefully of how I say this. But again, you getting into a relationship to put all that effort into learning your partner, you should really be taking that time and effort to learn yourself. And I mean every area of yourself.
That's
right. My children tease me, when I come out of the shower, I lather, they say, Mom, look at your skin's so soft. Why you take so much time to smooth the cocoa butter in or whatever product I have, they tease me. You be greased up, whatever. But you're going to bed. Because I love myself. This is me. This is my skin. So that was one of the things in the book. We talked about sex. We talked about friendships. Being really careful. Everybody is not your friend. I don't care how y'all hang out. I don't care how much y'all have in common. Friendships, real sisterhoods take time to build.
For sure.
And you cannot be ignorant to the red flags in friendships. And
speak on that. Speak on red flags in friendship. And I'm glad you're bringing that up, because I want to tell you, I get a lot of DMs and people sharing different situations that they've gone through. I myself have had friendships that are no longer. And I am a proponent of one that a lot of things that we deal with aren't just relational. They belong in, and not just the marriage scene. It's those friendships.
Absolutely.
And I have heard so much from the audience and just people that I've spoken to about the detriment of friendships and the grieving process that goes along with friendships. In my personal case, I, recently had a friend that I just realized I was no longer being nourished in that place. And I want to spend more time where I'm being nourished. A lot of times our friends are doing certain things or activities that we may not be particularly happy about, or what we may do. How do we deal with challenges in friendships in this day and age?
You know what? A lot of people are talking, and the internet gets on my nerve with that. Like, everybody has an opinion. I mean, just all these. Okay. So here's the thing. With friendships, I believe we put too much emphasis on them. I believe that sometimes friendships are not placed in their proper perspective. We cannot enter friendships to be served. Or to just kind of serve others.
Right.
Some of my most long-lasting friendships have been because life happens.
That's right.
I would announce early that I cannot be on the scene every 5 minutes. Every time you have an event, I cannot be there. I was a mother of 4. Before that, I was traveling and singing. Again, ministry was my life. Some probably would classify me as a really, really bad friend. However, when you needed me, I would drop everything for you when there was an emergency or anything. But me just kicking it on the phone, I just wasn't that type. I believe one of those red flags, if you are always talking, if you are on the phone, if you got that much time, to me, this is my personal opinion. This is
a Cassandra-ism.
Yes. You are not busy enough. You ain't got no business.
Right.
Anytime you are always on the phone, and she, and this one, and this one, and this one, you are not busy enough, in my opinion. Go get you some business and get busy so that you can stop talking about other people's business.
That's right.
And I believe that's how people build friendships, on the downfalls and different misfortunes of others. Some. Friendships differ at your age and stages of life, and you got to be able to ebb and flow with those different stages of life. Again, you can't be afraid to change, and allow your friend to change too. So if you can't be there, it's okay. I'm the type of person, Ursula, I will cheer for you.
That's right.
When I come into the presence of anybody, I don't care if I'm just meeting them for the first time, I am going to find something to compliment them on. And I mean it. I make it a habit. Thank you for sitting with me. Hey, your hair is pretty. I like your shoes. I'm going to say something. In my friendships, I realized that a lot of people could not reciprocate. I would be doing stuff that might be praiseworthy, and they would be silent. I was cheering for them, or as long as I was building their goal, their vision, we cool, we friends. The minute I needed that reciprocated back in my life, or I shared with you that I want to work on this, people were silent. People weren't there. Those are some of those red flags you have, you just have to pay attention to. You're not looking for them. You're not evil. You're not out here going, they didn't purchase my product. I'm not saying that. I'm saying over a span of time.
That's right.
You are looking at those habits. Just a couple of those red flags.
Excellent. Now, let's pivot a little bit.
All right.
So you have your master's degree. You now have your practice in full swing. Tell me what you love most about the living room, and tell us about the living room and that practice.
I chose the name The Living Room because in my family, that is where we had the most difficult conversations. In the middle of the living room, hashing it out. However ugly the topic was, we handled it. We problem solved. And I wanted to bring that personal touch with me into therapy because the concept didn't change. I am who I am. If you know me personally, I'm like that in my personal life. We mentioned the Paul Pack show. Those things have been on there, aired that way. That's not fake. That's our real life. And so I wanted to incorporate that in private practice as well, a space that you can just be. You don't have to be pretty all the time. In your living room, do you have this makeup on? No. We the ugliest in that
in
space.
The living room.
We are comfortable in that space.
That's right.
We let our hair down in that space. And so that is why I named it that, because I wanted people who encountered me to feel comfortable, to feel safe, that they can let their hair down. And again, create that safe space for them.
That's amazing. Tell me why therapy is important in general, but then break it down. Why therapy is important for women.
Therapy is important because it gives us an opportunity to purge. It gives you an opportunity to really dig up roots. It gives you an opportunity to be vulnerable and naked.
That's right.
With preferably somebody that does not know you. I'll put a period there.
I'll put an exclamation.
Therapy is important for women, again, because we wear so many hats, roles, and responsibilities. And even from young ages, we get tossed to and fro. All of this trauma that we've had, relationships, breakups. Man, by the time you're 25, by the time you're 30, we got miscarriages. We deal with, just sometimes disease in our bodies. Some of this stuff is packed upon each other. They call it compound trauma.
That's right.
And we never talk about it. We just get up and keep going to work. We just keep getting up and loving people that love us or that hate us, whatever. We just keep on rolling, and we never stop to take the time to just see about ourselves, to dig up some of this stuff and to really heal. That's what therapy is for. Whether you're a woman, man, I don't care who you are. Therapy is there to help you heal, to encourage you to do the work to heal.
That's right. Amen to that. I love that. That's a really good way to break down therapy and why it's important. Let's talk a little bit about what is one of the greatest fears you've had to overcome to get where you are today.
The fear of rejection. The fear of not being good enough. I realized that my own trauma, the things that I had endured in my own life, I had this deep root of bitterness and rejection that was growing in me. I became a therapist because I couldn't find what I needed. I
So
couldn't
you
find.
became.
I became what I needed the most. And that's how my whole viewpoint perspective is on that kind of work, because I understand how important it really is. So yeah, for me, rejection and feeling not good enough has been the most thing I've had to overcome.
Wow.
Took
Thank you
years.
for
Took
sharing
years.
that.
Took
Thank you for
years. Yeah.
sharing that.
Yeah.
And just why we know why why therapy is important, overcoming our fears, a place to heal. As a therapist, what are some ways you found to take care of yourself? I'm an empath. So I have become really quaint with empathetic boundaries and placing boundaries. But what are some of the things you do as a therapist to take care of you? What are some of your self-care practices?
Say no. No. However you say it, if you need to put an explicit on it, say it. I don't care how you say it. Saying no. As a therapist, I really deal with heavy stuff. And you have to know how to be evoked, but also discard it. I'm an empath too. And so, my gosh, you could be in a room and know that somebody's staring at you. You could be in a room, and that's not paranoia. These things are really real.
Right. For sure.
So you have to be aware. There's a certain level of awareness and maturity that I have kind of grown into. And learning how to really not carry people's burdens. And how do I do that? I binge watch dumb TV. Like, I've never been
I love it.
I've never been a TV watcher, but honey, I will go on Netflix, and on a Saturday, if I have the time, sometimes I will find the dumbest things to watch, because my real life is so heavy. TV has become an outlet for me, or YouTube, or something of that nature, because Monday through Friday and Monday through Saturday is so heavy. I have to unwind. I have to plug. Being in the presence of God is the number one thing that I must do to regulate and have that balance. And so in the presence of God, I'll stand there. I'll cry. I lay flat. I sing. I do I give, when he says cast our cares, I cast them. I cast mine. I cast theirs. I cast their family members.
That's right.
I mean, I take it to God and, like, help me help them, and then help me help myself at the same time. I hope I answered your question.
You did.
There's just so many different ways.
So great. Yeah. What's next for Cassandra?
This summer, I'm hitting the road hard with retreats. Yes, ma'am.
Congrats.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of women's retreats in various cities, so look out for those announcements. We're going to take different topics and really combine. One of my visions, Ursula, and this may not be for everybody, but this is one of my passions. I want to combine therapy, mental health therapy, with ministry, because both of them are such a part of me.
Absolutely.
I'm really prophetic. I didn't say that, but I have a gift of the prophetic mantle on my life.
Amen.
And so sometimes in therapy sessions, I have to refrain from the things that I see a lot of times. But in retreats, when you combine both of them and people agree,
yes,
baby, we're going to unleash that thing and combine that and deal with our mental, and then we're going to deal with our spiritual, and see how we want people to leave free in those weekends. Yeah.
I attend a church called Live, and our message this year is from Pastor Ty Tribbett is Live Free All 2023. So I am on that freedom message. I'm proud of you, my sis.
Thank you
for the work that you're doing as a woman, as a work that you're doing in therapy, all of the things that you're trailblazing and making a way for healing and growth. I commend you, and I say congratulations on all of your endeavors. I'd love for you to share with the audience, though, before we go, how they can get in contact with you, the best way to connect with you so that they can follow you and get information about these upcoming retreats. So share with the audience some of that.
First, I want to say thank you for thinking of me.
You're
and
welcome,
thank you for sharing your platform with me.
Of
I
course.
really mean it. It says a lot about who you are to be able to share your platform.
Absolutely.
So thank you to her. Kudos. All right. You can find me at Cassandra Paul on all social media outlets. I am on Facebook. I am on, I just did an IG account for that. And I love me
Yeah.
some TikTok. I didn't think I would like
Hey,
TikTok.
TikTok.
I love a little TikTok, honey. I also have websites that are attached to all of those. So all you have to do is click on the link to schedule
That's
sessions,
right.
different things like that. 321-396-2633 for any therapeutic sessions or
That's
life
right.
coaching sessions, because I do those out of state as well, if that's what you need.
All right, you guys got that info. We'll definitely be including that information on our chat once this goes on video on
Mm-hmm.
demand, and you guys can get that information. I'll also be sharing more information about Cassandra on my page as well, passing that information along. Again, I want to say thank you all for being
Mm.
wonderful guests this week. Thank you for being here for our episode as we just kind of talked more about therapy. Thank you, Cassandra, for
Mm-hmm.
being here.
Mm-hmm.
I want to wish you guys all an amazing week. Love God, love yourself, and spread some love around too. We'll see you next week. Have a great week.